Even in mathematics, this unconditional voluntarism is discernible in its axiomatic character. One begins by arbitrarily positing a series of axioms out of which everything else is supposed to follow. So again, that's the first paradox. When Pope speaks about rationality, he means this pre-modern, teleological, harmonious vision of the universe, not at all what we mean as the rationality of modern sciences. The second qualification, even much more interesting. Is Islam really so irrational? Does it really celebrate a totally transcendent, irrational God above reason? In an issue of the Time magazine around a year ago, there was an interesting interview with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the Iranian president, who advocated exactly the same unity of reason, logic, and spirituality as the Pope does. That is to say, to the question what he would ask President Bush in the public debate between the two that Ahmadinejad proposed, no? They asked him, okay, what would you talk with Bush about? Ahmadinejad replied, that's a quote, I would ask him, Bush, are rationalism, spirituality, and humanitarianism and logic, are they bad things for human beings? Why more conflict? Why should we go for hostilities? Why should we develop weapons of mass destruction? Everybody can love one another. I have said that we can run the world through logic. Problems cannot be solved through bombs. Bombs are of little use today. We need logic. This is the despised Muslim fundamentalist and so on. And effectively, I claim that he was right. From the perspective of Islam, it is Christianity as the religion of love which is not rational enough. Its focus on love makes God all too human, biased, in the figure of Christ who intervenes into creation as an engaged, combative figure, allowing Christ's passion to overrun the logic of the creator and master of the universe. The Muslim God, on the contrary, is the true God of reason. He is wholly transcendent, not in the sense of frivolous irrationality, as the Pope thinks, but in the sense of the supreme creator who knows and directs everything and has thus no need to get involved into earthly accidents with partial passion. You know, the God already is total rational master of the universe, no need to intervene with some stupid self-sacrifices or whatever. No wonder then that's an interesting fact, that Islam finds it much easier to accept for our common sense, paradoxical results of modern quantum physics, which run against our common sense. The notion of an all-encompassing rational order, which runs against our common sense. That's the idea of quantum physics. The underlying logic of Islam is that of a rationality which can be weird, but which allows no exception. The universe is totally rational, while the underlying logic of Christianity is that of an irrational exception, unfathomable divine mystery which sustains our rationality, or as my beloved theologist Gilbert Keith Chesterton put it, the Christian doctrine not only discovered the law, but it foresaw the exceptions. It is only the exceptions which allow us to perceive the miracle of the universal rule. And for Chesterton, the same goes for our rational understanding of the universe. A quote from Chesterton's Orthodoxy. The whole secret of mysticism is this, that man can understand everything by the help of what he does not understand. The morbid logician seeks to make everything lucid and succeeds in making everything mysterious. The mystic allows one thing to be mysterious and everything else becomes lucid. The one created thing which we cannot look at is the one thing in the light of which we look at everything. Like the sun at noonday, mysticism explains everything else by the blaze of its own victorious invisibility. End of quote. Chesterton's aim is thus to save reason through sticking to its founding exception. Deprived of reason, deprived of this exception, reason degenerates into a blind, self-destructive skepticism, in short, into total irrationalism. Or, as Chesterton liked to repeat, if you do not believe in God, you will soon be ready to believe anything, including the most superstitious nonsense about miracles. Which is why, incidentally, and Chesterton was here consequent. As you probably know, he's even best known today as the writer of detective stories. Father Brown, no? What's the point of detective stories, as Chesterton put it? That you have something which appears enigmatic, mysterious, like, I don't know, locked room mystery, how somebody was shot in a locked room, and precisely the whole point of detective story is to avoid it, like if the solution at the end would have been, oh, a divine, an agent intervened or what, you are cheating. The explanation must be totally rational. And that's the nicety of Chesterton. His claim is that Christianity is the only way to save reason through the exception. This was Chesterton's basic insight, that the irrationalism of the late 19th century, Nietzsche, Lebensphilosophie, and so on, was the necessary consequence of the Enlightenment rationalist attack on religion. Another problematic, nice quote. The Greeks and the Crusades, the hierarchies and the horrible persecutions of the pre-modern medieval universe were not organized, as is ignorantly said, for the suppression of reason. They, and he means here precisely, again, witch hunts and so on, they were organized for the difficult defense of reason. Men, by a blind instinct, knew that if once things were wildly questioned, reason could be questioned first. The authority of priests to absolve, the authority of popes to define the authority, even of inquisitors to terrify, these were all only dark defenses erected round one central authority, more undemonstrable, more supernatural than all, the authority of a man to think freely. I love this. Insofar as religion is gone, reason is going. It's a consequent position. The position, again, of universal rule and exception. Now, here, however, I think we encounter Chesterton's limitation, but a limitation which I think he himself overcome when in his, this is I think his best text, wonderful text on the book of Job, he shows why God had to rebuke his own defenders. This, as Chesterton put it, the mechanical and supercilious comforters of Job. You know the situation, no? Job got screwed up, family, all the property, everything lost, and then the three friends come, 3 or 4, I don't remember, and they try to comfort him by the message that it can be explained, there is a deeper reason why you were so screwed up, no? The first said, I don't know, it was because even if you don't know it, you must have done something wrong, God is just. The other said, but maybe you are just tested, whatever. They want to read meaning into it. And we have to be here very precise. I will return to this at the end. What Job does. Job's point is not, no, I didn't. Job's point is not, no, I'm innocent, God is wrong. He just does not accept that there is a deeper meaning. And what the 3 or 4 theologists, friends who come to comfort him, insist on is precisely, no, your catastrophe has a deeper meaning. The nice thing, of course, as you know, which is why I think that the book of Job is the founding text of materialism, maybe, is that God himself, without any ambiguity, takes the side of Job. He says every word that Job said is right, every word that these 3 defenders of mine took is wrong. Quote, the last one, a little bit longer from Chesterton. The mechanical optimist endeavors to justify the universe avowedly upon the ground that it is a rational and consecutive pattern. He points out that the fine thing about the world is that it can all be explained. That is the one point, if I may put it so, on which God, in return, God when he comes back at the end to Job, is explicit to the point of violence.